Hey everybody, it's your old pal Chuck, and I'm back with another review. And today, taking a break from the legacy figures because I was working up the courage to get to that one. We're going to take a look at from the Target exclusive Buzzworthy Bumblebee line. This is Deluxe Class Silverstreak. Now, for those of you who maybe aren't familiar with the Transformers history, way back in G1 when Hasbro were bringing in the Datsun molds from Car Robots, the offshoot of Diaclone, there was Prowl, who was the police type, Smokescreen, who was the rally car type, and then you had the normal, everyday street design, which, I mean, that's what they did in Diaclone and Car Robots. You would get the molds in different colors and stuff because, depending on what was on the street at the time. That's why we have skids and, the skids mold in multiple colors. Well, that street type was originally looked a lot like this, a blue car with a silver hood. Now, I'm not 100% sure what happened. Either Hasbro decided to make a change in the design just because, or there was a miscommunication and Takara made the alternate design, because even though on the box of Blue Streak we see this design of the car, what we ended up getting was an all silver version of the car. Now, of course, Blue Streak was named because he talked a mile a minute and was very verbose, and not because of the look, even though the look was going to tie in. So, I mean, it still worked out anyway. I mean, that's what Silverstreak looked like in the animation. The silver hood and roof with a little dark paneling. We've already seen that in the Earthrise line. Later on, as some of us might know, by the mid-90s, Hasbro kind of figured that vehicle-based Transformers were done. So they proceeded to let a lot of the licensing lapse on, and trademarks lapse on some of the names. So when the commemorative series came around in the early 2000s, they no longer had the rights to the name Blue Streak. So they just turned around, and for the commemorative series and alternators, they called the toy Silverstreak. So as a bit of homage to that, Hasbro is naming this version Silverstreak, since it's, even though it's the original color that was supposed to be Blue Streak, they're just having a little bit of fun. So there is that. This is the same Datsun mold we've seen already. I really like this deco. I love the blue. I love the silver. I have the Masterpiece repaint like this. It's a shame. I don't think a version like this was ever released under the Transformers name. Maybe it was an eHobby exclusive. I know they're through the Transformers Collectors Club. There was a version of Blue Streak that was released like this. It was part of the subscription service. But yeah, I really like the coloring. Unfortunately, as you may have seen, I have the head facing forward. My head is frozen in place. I don't know if it's paint frozen. I don't know if it's a mold issue. But basically, I can't get it to move. I can get it to look up and down ever so slightly, but I cannot get it to turn left or right. Very disappointed about that. Hopefully, I can get some tips that are simple on how to fix it. I am not going to use a hairdryer because I am afraid of melting things. But if it's the type of thing I can fix by sticking it in the freezer, I don't know. But then again, this definitely was something that Hasbro should have really fixed. Should not have had happen. But on the plus side, with the packaging, you can actually stick your hand in, 2 fingers, and twist the head, because it's an open window now. So if it moves, at least you'll know if that's working fine. But that's about it for vehicle mode. Now, normally I would just refer you to my review of Prowl, but I'm going to be a little nice, and we're going to go through the full transformation, which will happen right after this. Okay, let's get right into the transformation. First, you want to go ahead and remove the weapons assortment. It comes with the 2 shoulder cannons and the rifle. The shoulder cannons are basically those that are accurate for Prowl and Blue Streak. I guess also now Silverstreak, but are not accurate to smokescreen, which is kind of funny because in Siege, the cannons that came with Silverstreak and smokescreen were actually more animation accurate to that version of the toy. Start the transformation. Go ahead and pop the doors open. Now, I do want to mention, I have heard that there is breakage issues. There have always been breakage issues with this version of the mold. I haven't experienced anything, but I'm just pointing it out. So, of course, when transforming your Transformers, because, you know, they're not made like they used to. Come underneath, lift up the arms, bring them straight out. At this point, you can flip them out to the side, just like so. Turn the car over, rotate them at that shoulder joint so the fists face forward. And for right now, just leave it as it is. Then going to come back underneath. If your head can rotate at this point, you would actually rotate it around. Like I said, mine frozen in place, very hesitant to move it. Flip up those white heel guards, flip up this back end, unfold this whole section so it sits out like so. Go ahead and straighten out the legs, stand the figure up. Now we can come back into the top here, flip that panel down, and then just go ahead and collapse the chest and the roof, hood, all the way down into the chest. There is a tab on that panel that will sort of sit in place there. What you can then do now is on these arm joints, there's little tabs. Bring them down. That will help hold the chest into place. Rotate the hips around. Separate the legs. And then don't forget to come inside and flip down these gap fillers, which kind of do a good job, kind of don't. But there's Bluestreak in its robot mode. Let's come in and pop the guns on. And of course, in vehicle mode, if you want to have these on the hood there like that, you can. It's up to you. This is your toy, your world. Do with it as you see fit. By the way, if you should start hearing some thumping or something, I think Her Royal Majesty Delilah has shifted around to the back of my light box here, so she might just start going boom, boom, boom. But so there's Bluestreak. Let's go ahead, bring in Prowl. That's who I happen to have handy since I, did the Diaclone Ironhide. Want to take a look at the heads. I think they're the same. I'm not sure. Can you guys tell me? I mean, really, I can't for the life of me be sure. I think it might be the paint. I mean, if it's a different head, then it's the Silverstreak head, but I thought Silverstreak had the same head. I mean, I kind of yes, kind of no. The faces look a little different, but all right, don't want to dwell on it. Transformation, it is what it is. If you guys like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. This is like a very close to the masterpiece in that regard. But as you can see, the differences in color, there's a little bit more white here in the legs. It breaks up the black that's all over on Prowl. You do have a different front end here. This is the police version. This is the normal retail of the Datsun, also known as the Fairlady Z, now kind of on the market as the Nissan Z. I like here underneath, you got that white torso where it's black. Really nice breaking up the colors there. Like I said, I really like this shade of blue. I mean, this is like my favorite shade of blue. Other than that, little bit, just a difference in color. And of course, we just got to swing the figures around. And obviously on Prowl, you have the light bar there, whereas on Smokescreen, you just have that peg. And you can use that peg for weapon storage if you so desire. Other than that, really not much different. I mean, this was an Earthrise mold. I mean, it's now, believe actually, the packaging is not your usual Buzzworthy Bumblebee packaging. It's actually in the yellow and black colors, but it's the Legacy style with that tri-folded edge. Also, I want to mention it was very difficult getting a Silverstreak out of the packaging. Like, I was like concerned about breaking the figure, getting it out. And I don't know if that's Hasbro's intent. I mean, I've been called paranoid for a lot less, but there you go. But again, this is a fun figure. I mean, this actually might now be the easiest way to get to experience the Earthrise Datsun mold. Prowl is incredibly difficult due to being part of that 2-pack with Ironhide. Blue Streak, right, I think it was a Walgreens exclusive, and Smokescreen was the regular retail release. And unlike Wheeljack, that's not getting a repack going forward. But I got to be honest with you, if you're gonna, oh, and there's also Barricade, but Barricade was part of an Amazon exclusive 2-pack, so there's that too. But like I said, Silverstreak I think is the best, the cheapest way to experience the mold right now. So yeah, not much more to say. Overall, I mean, I'm digging the looks. I'm digging, again, the color. So I'll pause and I'll be back with my final thoughts. I always appreciate it when Hasbro makes the effort to go back and acknowledge its roots and the history of the Transformers line. Really, if in those early days of G1, I would say from 84 to 86, Transformers was really a clearinghouse of sorts for other Japanese, mostly Takara, but also from Bandai and other companies, transforming robot lines. And under the Transformers banner, these toys were given their own identities. So with Diaclone and Car Robots, these figures didn't have those identities. So now going back, Hasbro in a way is giving these characters identities. I mean, Silverstreak here is at least from what I can understand, a sentient robot. Much like the black repaint of Ironhide known as Guard, and that red version of Hoist, that's also a Generation Selects figure. Also, this just gives you a little taste of the history of what happens when you are trying to create a transforming robot line, and how, back then, without the use of the internet, Wi-Fi, 4G, 5G, communication isn't always the best, and mistakes can happen. But I mean, as Bob Ross says, there's no such thing as mistakes. There's happy accidents. So I got this figure off at Target.com. I actually think it's still available there now, but it's also showing up in Target stores where it is a retail exclusive. You can also try getting it off of Hasbro Pulse, but I highly urge you to go to Target. I've heard that even though online you're paying the new $24.99 deluxe price, if you scan these on the app in the store, they might show up as $19.99. So there's that. And besides, why pay shipping when you can, go shopping and come home with your purchase that same day? So that's about it for the review. If you like this review, please consider liking, commenting, and subscribing. As I always say, I appreciate the views, but the likes, comments, and subscriptions help me communicate to YouTube through their algorithms that my channel should be exalted and held upon high. If you really want to make the ultimate sign of support, please consider signing up for my Patreon. It is www.patreon.com/chuckdog1999. Card here in the corner, hyperlink in the description below. All I ask for is $1 a month or $12 a year. No thrills, no tiers, no special rewards. All you're doing is helping me help you to help me help you bring figures like Silverstreak to you, as well as keeping up the infrastructure of the channel. But as I always say, if you can't afford the $1 a month or $12 a year, your views are more than thanks enough. And I do appreciate all the support you guys have been giving me over these years. Last year was my or 2 years ago was like my 10th anniversary of doing reviews. These past few months, I've seen like really good numbers, numbers I haven't seen in a very long time, especially in a non-movie year. So again, I really appreciate the support. Well, that's about it. This is your old pal Chuck for Silverstreak. Pat me on the back. I didn't slip and call this figure Blue Streak once. We will see you next time.